Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. And apparently not look at the camera. Smeagol, what are you doing?
I'm actually looking at the camera, it's just my camera's not positioned correctly because it's on my monitor.
Well, you weren't a minute ago, that's why I was asking.
Just putting something back, eye drops.
Do I have to do the school teacher thing? Can you get all of that business done before we start? I mean, come on, I even gave us 15 minutes of me being me to...
I was trying to, it still hasn't stopped. I've been trying for the past hour, it's been a debacle.
Okay.
I can function, it's just starting to go away now.
If I may ask, why do you need eye drops?
Because I have occasional issues where something either gets under the eyelid or irritates and won't get out.
Okay. That's fair. I was asking out of curiosity and concern, not to justify yourself. Stop rubbing them.
I will when I can force the compulsion to stop.
Let's distract you from the compulsion.
Please do!
Previously, after some time navigating some mining tunnels, an issue with a complete asshole of an archfey, a purple worm attack, and a test of some very interesting explosives, and kind of out of nowhere marriage proposal, the Cupcake Coterie ended up back at the saloon down in the up and under the gnome sort of central mining town hub kind of thing. They've only just managed to get in because they managed to get in during one of the meal rushes, and that got at least one of them fairly badly lost, which was terrible. Lots of fun up until the rescue happened, but possibly ill-advised rescue, but it was easier than trampling deep gnomes. You don't want to trample the deep gnomes. They can shield themselves, but not everyone can heal as much as half of our party can. But after that, they handed over their proof of culling, their tithe, as it were, to. And tithe is 10%, so I don't know what 20% is in that kind of terminology. There must be a word, but I don't know it. I'll probably look it up later because now it's going to bug me. The Capreval Mining Consortium, no, we can wait. I see people reaching for keyboards. And have now headed in the direction of the saloon, where the argument has probably changed topic, but it's still going. These people spend a terrible lot of time yelling at each other.
Dios mío.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make sure we've got rooms and get food. If you wanna,
Thank you.
You wanna deal with this. Does everybody want their own rooms? We've kind of got the mayor is paying our tab, so
whichever's easier.
I mean, if they have them, sure. I mean, how often do we get the opportunity?
I'm mostly asking because looking at Hazel and Clarity.
It's just vibrating in place and just trying to resist the urge to bolt and latch onto Clarity.
Well, okay, look, no, that was obvious. There's a certain
thinking something, but
there's a certain amount of there are a couple of people who are pretty obviously going to be sharing a room. And, I don't know where you guys entirely were with certain bits of sharing, but I do know that your cuddle pile is epic, so don't worry about it.
And I'm just going to commit to Glomp.
Case in point. I meant more of the rest of you.
If they hadn't, that would be great.
I'm pretty sure they do. It's not like, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what the yelling bunch over there's living arrangements are, and I really don't want to know. And heads in the direction of the bar and leaves you guys to try and sort out the various amounts of yelling.
Who wants to make the approach?
Not it.
Remy looks to Darvin.
Ada's gonna put a finger. So, is there anyone else in the, or is it just the scientists and us?
There's a couple of what look like management, but you've already declared that you're doing the whistling, so
Right.
so it doesn't really matter.
A really
So-
loud whistle.
Now what would we make you roll for that?
Oh boy.
Weirdly, given it's volume and breath control, I'm gonna say Constitution check.
Okay. Not my strongest, but I'll do.
Yeah, can you stop with that? We know.
Sorry. Yes, sorry. 11.
Yeah, you're kind of. It's the kind of whistle you'd give to a falcon or a horse. Not pub raucous. You're a noble.
True.
So you're doing and it's kind of melodic, but not overly loud.
Screw it! And I'm going to stump over to their table.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got Kaisra, who's the only one who never gets involved in the yelling, but she seems to be mostly writing things down, gleaning what she can from the yelling, and looks up and,
Yeah, we're back.
funnily enough, I had noticed I have eyes.
Yeah, I figured you would be the one to notice. I don't know about the rest of them.
Yes, no, they're trying to extrapolate the change of ecosystem, and apparently Hoxa is having some kind of meltdown because some of his various bits of sensor, I don't even know what half of what Hoxa does, kind of went crazy yesterday.
Yeah, there's an explanation for that, but I want to talk to my party about that before having to extrapolate and get into the inevitable.
Then why don't you talk to your party about the inevitable before you come here? Because before you said that, I was going to interrupt the argument by the simple expedient of telling Hoxa that we might have an answer.
Oh, thank the gods you mentioned it at all, otherwise I wouldn't have noticed. I'll be right back.
It's
Eh.
back down to just a little side note in the margins from the argument. So you see Hazel stump up, talk to Kaisra, and then walk back again.
So, how much do we want to explain about the Archfey incident?
What?
Why? What would? Huh?
Froseth lip reads.
Yeah.
And Kaisra was more facing him than Hazel was. So he did hear
So first
the
that
thing
knows.
about the readings.
Sensors.
Who? What now?
I thought the sensors thing were more to do with the massive explosion we set off.
No, that was today.
Oh,
That was
today.
lunchtime today.
Okay.
Yesterday was. I know that our sessions are short and they
Yeah.
multi, but yesterday was the Furseth is wise. He would remember this.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the Archfey bullshit. So
Okay.
yeah, you've just got Furseth going the sensors and his what?
Whatever things that they made to do tracking and what have you, picked up the Archfey nonsense and apparently went bonkers. So they're freaking out and in the middle of some kind of meltdown
boy.
about it.
No.
They don't actually know
boy.
what it was, and that's why I'm asking whether or not we want to explain any more of that
I
to
guess.
them,
I guess
because
we
you know how
should-
they get.
we
Sorry,
should give
continue.
the most basic detail that there was an archfey involved.
Or at the very least, it was our stuff.
It's our stuff, and it will be following
Yeah.
us.
Right.
Yes, but Furseth the wise, Barnabus who knows the Izzet League. Do you really think that scientists are going to accept that as an answer? So you've got the two non-humanoids looking at Remi like, really?
We give them anything, they'll be pressing us for everything.
Yeah. They're scientists. They want details.
All the details, and then replicated. Which, let's not do that, shall we?
Except also Furseth the wise and Barnabas the intelligent. If that got brought up, and Furseth the lip reader knows that Hazel, given the response, Hazel must have mentioned that they know something about that. So it's only to Kaiser for now, but there were notes. So yeah, this is mostly a Furseth thing.
So the one already knows we know something now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think I see
We're-
where your brain's going.
we're basically going to have to give them something now, but
I guess we'll tell them we got kidnapped by an archfey again.
Might want to leave out the again.
Yeah.
I mean, just thought. I'm trying to do this new thing where I'm listening and then responding.
Except, why did the Archfey kidnap you? And going from there, for the wiser ones of you. Alisaie kind of comes back and goes, "Yeah, okay. Single rooms for everybody, but us. Why do we all have face?"
They had sensors that picked up the Archfey incident,
But they don't
and
know
we're trying
what
to
it
figure
is.
out how to explain it without them going down the rabbit hole
I
about it.
don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I'm beginning to
Wow.
think that's the case as well.
You all are just going to have to give them your blood. That's probably what's going to happen.
To be fair, any of us that got stung by that purple worm are probably gonna have to anyway. But as far as the story of it goes, Darwin, I'm gonna need some musical accompaniment out of you.
Can do. I follow.
At which point, Yeah, because her constitution is rather better, so it really is just does what Ava did, just louder. And they all sort of look up like, if you want the damn stories of what happened to us over the last couple of days, you're gonna have to watch this. Because we're not going through it again. We've had enough bullshit the last couple of days. Do we understand each other? And there's just sort of, Jahavarian actually, looks at her and actually looks anticipatory, like, I'm looking forward to this. Because he is originally from the people, so he knows what Alisaie is about to do. And the rest of them are just kind of like, okay. So, Darvin, make me a performance check.
26.
Yeah, they between the Archfey thing and the purple worm attack, they rock the house. Effectively. They cover as much as they can because not all of it was theirs to tell, but it's still kept pretty vague just because of the vagaries of dance. The only person who's actually getting all of it is Jahavarian, who's... How well is he taking notes? I mean, he'll probably be able to read the notes that he's making, but because he can't look down at them because he's having to watch, because it's a sign language. He has not hit the lines at all on his notepad. He just doesn't fucking care. As he understands, if this is all he's going to get, then he's going to make the most of it. The others, you see, are kind of watching him, and you do have Hoxa going, none of us are going to be able to read that. Tough luck for you, then. And, that comes to a close, and Alisaie is just... Well, it's better than having to sit around and tell the various bits, and there is applause, even from the scientists, except for Jahavarian, who's still trying to get the last little bits of notes, and Aquilinia is kind of looking up and going, those of you who got dosed with purple worm poison, could we possibly, and holds up one of those needles again.
Is that really necessary?
Well, I mean, I suppose we have enough samples of humans who've been dosed with it. Oh, fuck. Fine. I warn you, though, you might not have got it entirely, but Dude can explain to you why the previous day's happenings might fuck up your readings. She died. What? Guys, go pick up dinner. I left an order, and I'll do what I can here.
Yeah, Remy starts going.
Holds out an arm.
I got it.
Yeah, it's stew. There's a lot of it. It's kind of indefinable meat and a lot of kinds of mushroom. And it's those potatoes that apparently scream again. Although they're not screaming now because they've been chopped up, but you guys aren't going to forget about the screaming potatoes anytime soon. Yeah, it's a little while before Alisaie comes back, so if you want conversation meantime. Yeah. This is Alisaie trying to spare you their bullshit and them your bullshit.
Remy's watching Alisaie.
Yeah, there's sitting there with. They take a couple of blood vials, and you can see the look at being. Are you going to actually leave me some? I've lost enough the last couple of days as it is. And
Really,
explaining.
I don't have to do that.
I'm going to go over any of my personal religious pamphlets or books or whatever stuff I still have from training and looking for wedding ceremony details.
You've got a couple of bits and pieces. There's a battered old notebook that they don't print leaflets or anything like that, but you did find your old notebook, and now it's just a matter of puzzling out your youthful handwriting.
Oh boy. Is this right? What the hell is that doodle? I don't even remember scribbling that.
I don't think even what I could. No, I don't. There's
What does
I
this
don't know
look
if
like to
comprehend
you?
languages
I
would work
flipped
on
the whole
that.
thing around and pointed at Darwin.
I don't know if that would work on that.
Well, to be fair, it's not
already in my language.
well, no, actually, give me an intelligence check.
Okay. And that's 20. Holy crap!
The problem is she was trying to take notes in Halfling, and she wasn't very good at it. So those are runes, not letters, and that's why she's having such a hard time.
Okay, that's halfling. That's why.
Flip it back around and just start staring at it again.
I mean,
I
you
think you're
can.
also holding it upside down.
No, she was holding it right way up. It's just that she thought she was.
No.
Yeah,
But she flipped it. She flipped it over. I was looking at it. My bad. Never mind.
Yeah.
You got it the right way now.
And now that you're seeing that you're looking at runes rather than letters, you're having a slightly easier time of it. Yes, slightly easier time.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, to be fair, even Clarity's having a hard time with that because you can read any language. They didn't make any kind of provisions for crappy handwriting.
That's why I was like, I don't think comprehend languages is going to work on that even.
It's eventually Alisaie kind of boom back in her chair and just.
Her bowl is already there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice and set up.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Hmm.
I don't know entirely what they're going to do with all that blood, but at least I
just want to know.
At least I talked them out of taking samples of those of us who actually went to the to wherever the Archfey was. I may have had a bit of a word with them about maybe spending more of their time analyzing their readings to see where we were. Because I don't think that was the Feywild.
It wasn't?
If I remember right, most people tend to have some memory issues when they come back from the Feywild, and we haven't had any kind of issue like that I've known about. So I don't think it was. So I nudged them in the direction of maybe trying to figure out exactly where it was that was, and is as thanks for the suggestion, they're going to pass that information along.
Yay to Archfey and personal pocket worlds or wherever we got thrown.
Yeah, I mean,
memory issues definitely not a thing.
I'm just going to lean on Clarity. Just sort of apologetically.
But at the very least, we got our point across. The next lot of yelling you hear is going to be the negotiations over who gets what part of the notes that Jahavarian managed to get, because, that's a thing. And I gave them their scanner back, so that's all dealt with. She pulls out her pouch of spices. So, yeah, that part's done too. Now we just head in a dragonward direction.
Yep.
Yay!
Did you tell them that purple worms don't have livers?
Yeah. I may have had a bit of a rant about that. It was a good distraction from the. I don't think they've ever actually had Azamar blood to work with before, so I think they might have been taking the piss just a little bit. I am fine with that, more or less, because it means that they weren't going after Barnabus.
I thank you for that. I really do.
That's cool. I mean, I'm happy to keep them distracted with things of more or less our plane, so that they don't start chasing after you for samples and bits from somebody out of the normal, I don't know, planar lotus or whatever you want to call it, where the various bits of interlap. But it's the best I can come up with from what few maps I've seen of how the planes in our section are laid out.
I don't even bother trying to understand it, but I'm just happy they're not asking for samples of everything. I've run into something like that before.
Yeah,
When I
they're
say everything, I mean everything.
yeah the
I'm
well
suddenly very interested in my soup. Just
yeah the term biopsy came up
Oh,
once they explained what that meant. Because let's face it, you guys don't really have. I mean, Barnabas does because is at Lake, but the rest of you and to be fair, Clarity could probably work it out from first principles given her int score. But the rest of you, biopsy?
What's that even mean, biopsy?
You don't want to know. Trust
Barnabas.
Yes, she does. It means taking. It means using a needle to take very small bits of tissue from everywhere, from skin to like nails to bone, internal organs.
that sounds awful.
So doctor things and cleric things, except turned to
Science things.
1,400,000 levels of science.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, no, they don't. If I didn't get to have purple worm liver, they don't get pieces of mine.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. It's a very, very smart decision there.
And there is only one person who gets bits of my heart. Thank you very much. It goes back to her stew. Oh. Yeah, so I mean, we've got recuperation night, and then sooner we get this dragon killed, the sooner we can get back out under open sky. Because I gotta tell you guys, this is not a happy thing.
Yeah.
Put up with it, obviously, but sun, I miss it. There are probably very good reasons for that.
Yeah. I like darkness more or less, but even this is too much for me.
I mean, I'm okay with darkness. It's just I like to know that the sun is going to be there at some point. I'm pretty sure it's a hereditary thing. But we will get there. And it's one of those. Apparently, it's one of those very quiet, very sober dinner sits.
Just kind of.
A little bit tired out.
Yeah, contemplating.
Remi's still watching Alisaie.
Alisaie probably notices the being watched, but is carrying on like, because Remy is probably not going to say anything in a group, and just staring at her is going to be weird, so she's not going to do it. Although she does ask, Hazel, are you doing what I think you're doing?
Yeah, though my notes are in very bad halfling. I mean, look at this clarity. My writing was. That's not supposed to be shaped like that.
That's nearly unintelligible, and I can read anything.
It's kind of for clarity. It's kind of like reading the writing of a kid who's just learning their letters. So some of the letters you're getting through context because they're backwards, and the sentence structure, she hasn't quite grasped Halfling sentence structure yet. So you're trying to put it together. You're having to put it together from. It's like Japanese translated word for word rather than. So it's like Yoda but worse.
Okay, your verbs are all in the wrong place. That participle doesn't go there.
And to be fair, it gets better as it goes on. She was clearly having practice, but her earliest notes was apparently, and this is for clarity because clarity's very bright. She was clearly trying so hard to practice her Halfling because she wanted to write like Mom and Mama, but she hadn't thought to actually ask for more help from Mom and Mama. She thought she had it, so crayon, and then improved.
Oh, it's adorable. It's all wrong and adorable. I give her a hug.
I'm just gonna lean.
We should probably think a bit about how we're going to approach a blue problem.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I've been contemplative.
Well, one of the things I'd noticed, and I mean, I know we talked about using Twilly's little potentially working innovation on the black, but one thing did occur to me. We've all been getting stronger as time goes on. We're probably going to be in a better place to hit the black after we hit the blue. Right now, we're good, but Corivel
Nearly stomped us.
Yeah, and while we're stronger now, this blue she's older.
Much.
Well, we don't know for sure she's an ancient, we suspect, but either way,
Fair.
I think one thing we have to consider is that if we are looking at an ancient, we're going to have to use that bubble innovation sooner. It'll give us more of a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing that worries me most is we fought a blue before, albeit a Draco Lich, but still, I still have the memory of that breath, just and wow, and how do we deal with that?
We
Aside from
don't.
just
a line.
being there,
We don't bunch up, and
Right.
we let those of us who are more resistant to lightning take the front. Ree's armor and Froseth got some shinies from the Storm Lord.
I'm also a lot better at dodging that kind of stuff than I was then.
Fair.
and I can just go up.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned stronger. I'm pretty well certain I can do the dimension door a couple times now, but I don't think I could do it quick enough to avoid that. So
No,
that's
it takes too long to cast. But
yeah, exactly.
although I had been thinking about trying to pick that one up, but I decided that was not going to be as useful as something else that has been useful to other people against us, according to your stories. Confusion.
Ooh, excellent.
That could be useful, yeah.
Well, given we know there's kobolds out there, last thing we're going to want to do is have to deal
with them
too
and the
much.
dragon.
Yeah, particularly if they're entrenched and fortified. But insofar as the dragon goes, all we can really do is not bunch up. Try to have our more lightning resistant individuals keep to the front as much as possible. And watch out for whatever bullshit's in its lair, because we're not going to be able to lure it out.
Yeah. Speaking of that, if we figure out where the lair is as we're making our approach, can we?
You mentioned about the breakfast.
I can do a thing with that. We just need to stop before going in.
Yeah. What I was gonna do, following on from our little thing with the explosive tests. I mean, we'll probably practice that again because we've got a couple of others to drop off on our way. But I can use a general location if I'm close enough. So, I mean, yeah, I can only do it once a day, but if we're within about a mile, I can just say the blue dragon's lair. If it doesn't work, we know we're not within a mile of it. If it does, then we are.
That could be useful.
That'll give us, I mean, we're going to have to travel slow and careful anyway. So if I do that towards the end of our day, that'll give us plenty of time to stop so that Hazel can do her thing. And we're still far enough away to not get its attention unless it can detect magic, but it still doesn't know where it's coming from, so that's fine.
Speaking of magic, do we know if the dragon can use magic?
No, but maybe.
Assume it does.
Probably a safe assumption.
We're basically, we want to be the ones doing the bushwhacking instead of getting bushwhacked.
Yeah, there you go.
Unfortunately, we can't count on that, and not just because of magic. Kobolds. Kobolds are basically very treasure-centric. They deal with treasure the way Hazel deals with Paylor.
It's pretty much right on the money, and I'm brooding around and pulling out the dragon book, and I'm handing it to Alisaie to show examples with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Dragons, blues in particular, from what I've read, really big on collecting treasure, the rare, the beautiful. No. Anyway, yeah, no, so we already know there's a kobold settlement, but that one's down to our esteemed governor here. But it's a poor assumption to make that this blue doesn't have an army of kobold minions with access to Cabreaval technology. So, I don't think she even needs to be paying attention to bushwhack us.
Half the stuff in her personal tunnel assortment could probably do the bushwhacking.
Oh, I wasn't. Yeah, well, something along those lines. I figure, they've become entrenched. It's It's a thing. We gotta, I mean, we can't really be prepared for that beyond to know to be careful.
Yeah, do everything we
Checking
can
for-
before going in, and then go in and
Yeah, check for traps,
Improvise.
et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Oh, actually, more, yeah, Hazel, it's not, yeah. We need to be checking for traps long before we get to the lair. I'd say from when we get through the salt gate, whatever that actually looks like, is when we have to start checking for traps.
okay, so territory limits. That makes more sense.
I mean, there's a reason why those boundaries haven't been pushed or negotiated for. Because it's kind of hard to tell where the boundaries end and begin here unless they've been delineated from one side or another by some mechanism or other. I mean, I know Kreia Bendis was really surprised when that red turned up, which means there's something that we're not meant to know about keeping other dragons out.
Probably best that we don't know about it.
Yeah, but apparently that red found a loophole. But point is that right up until the edge of the territory the Five Claws have marked out, we're gonna have to watch it. But again, beyond that, while I know that trying to have some kind of plan is good, we can't really make a decent one until we've seen the field of combat.
That's fair.
The only thing I've got is we tried Twilly's chromatic goldfish bowl now. And if push comes to absolute shove, if it does work, even if it doesn't, maybe she's made improvements. Maybe she'll be able to do it again. I don't know. I don't know what it cost her to do it the first time. But the worst she can say is no. And we'll know if it's too much for her.
And if it is, then we'll figure something else out. We always do.
Yep.
I mean, that is one thing. I honestly, okay, you know me and gods and all that, but I mean, I know they're real, but that's different than having faith. Hazel, I think you might know what I mean there. I have faith in us. I have faith that some way, somehow, we'll see this through to the end.
And you've been developing your own particular form of normal faith, quote unquote, because you've had a few direct conversations that you don't want to have another one of from this comment.
That is different. That kind of belief in a god is like believing in a parent or a governor or a really ratty barman. Just because you believe in them, because you believe in them because you know they exist. Having faith in them is something else.
Ratty barman reminded me. Now you got me flashing back to that one place. Oi. It's a bad place. I thought I got that in my head. Oh well.
The one that I refused to stay inside of?
Yeah.
The blind harpy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the one I think the only one of us didn't have a problem with was, well, you, because you didn't even stay there and process.
Yes, apparently bedbugs and scales not a thing. They talk a lot about the blind harpy.
Hey, Barnabus, what's the worst place you've had to stay in? Including since coming here.
Back home, I ended up having to deal with all hands riot suppression for a while, and I was living among the ruins of Gruul clan camp for about 2 weeks, which was horrifying.
Gruul?
Long story. Big, angry, and dumb. With zero comprehension of hygiene. Zero.
Oh dear.
So they would have been quite at home at this blind harpy place.
What are the chances they'd have tried to eat it?
Wait, you mean eat the blind harpy? Like the place?
I mean, nothing's beyond stuff that Barnabus has talked about, so that
Fair.
was the first thing that came to mind.
That's fair. Just trying to imagine someone.
To be fair, the thatching was probably of that place was probably more palatable than the stew, if what you were saying was true.
Good point. Or
And Barnabas is just. Yeah, that expression is just, I don't want to know.
memories.
Yeah, I'm almost sorry I missed that one. It's probably slightly better than the place where you got served dog pie.
Hmm.
I want to erase that from my memory.
We fixed that problem.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he went back to business as usual after he finally recovered from the beating he got. I don't know. It's not like we've been back since.
True, and it's not like he struck me as very swift on the uptake. I mean, you probably should have realized just how bad of an idea that was in the beginning, but, I mean, desperate times, I suppose.
And, you take that many hits to the head, you might have some issues afterwards. I'm just saying. Well, any further actual tactical conversation can probably wait until morning.
We need more information anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's probably room time.
So very much.
Pat Hazel on the head. And passes out keys, numbers on them, and we'll meet down here in the morning for breakfast a la underground.
Mm-hmm.
Mushroom omelets in abundance, yay! I still want to know what the hell the eggs are.
Yeah.
I'm okay now.
I second that.
I don't know. I do.
I'll pass.
Non-birds,
Can
I
be
imagine.
birds.
Probably.
Well, that can kind of work, It's I've seen a few good reptile egg omelets in my time.
There's all kinds of things that live underground, so the options are vast, possibly varied.
On that lovely note.
And off. Oh.
Clarity pulls aside Froseth. So I'm rarely awake enough to notice, but what kind of training do you do in the mornings?
It'll vary from one morning to another. Sometimes just clearing the mind, meditation. Other times, like general forms. If you're familiar with that, what that would be.
Sort of. So after the purple worm fight and a little bit in the kobolds and whatever happened at Star Coast, I felt a little ineffectual. I mean, I kept up my training some when I was, studying in the library, but I want to be better, and I want to be able to avoid as much harm as possible because I'm otherwise rather weak. But you have a sort of quickness that I think might mesh well with how I do my thing. And I was wondering if you could wake me up sometime to train with you, just so I can,
Okay.
improve a bit. I can wake up early, and if I remember not to go to bed too late at night.
Yeah.
So it may be a little iffy at first, in the first, several minutes, but I would like to learn from you if possible.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you there.
Thank you. Do some loud knocking.
And as Clarity and First will both know, be prepared for the response of, nah, cake pants.
I'm sure after some cake pan mutterings, Hazel will go back to sleep.
might have to peel her off you, but
Oh, I'm a goddamn
With
limpet.
special spatula or crowbar.
The bed crowbar is now a thing. Okay.
And you see,
Thank you very much.
this is the kind of thing why I like to have some kind of justification for why you learn the things you learn, because without my insisting that you find some way of learning evasion, this wonderful conversation would not have happened.
This is a meme now. This entire the bed crowbar thing. This is eternally going to relate to dodging.
I liked the spatula better, actually.
Okay.
Oh no, that's going to end up in every single other game I'm in.
The bed spatula and the war skillet.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's on brand with the cake pans.
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm just saying, cookware with an alternate use.
Anyway,
It's already spinning ideas. Please make it stop. Distract me.
if you shut up for a minute, I might actually be able to do that. Or somebody else might. So, yes. Retiring for the evening. Is there anything that anyone else wants to say, do, talk about, drag someone aside for, etc.?
Remi will, assuming they make it to the bedroom without anyone else dragging anyone else.
It would appear not. Somebody would have said something by this point, I think.
I do remember the one time Ava did that, and Remi's like, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean out of character. They usually butt in a lot sooner than that.
It was after celebrations and stuff. Remi untangles herself, desperately reaches for water, offers some to Alice, saying,
Yeah, that's more or less definitely taken. Although, sort of, I think I probably could have used another night's sleep before we got quite that vigorous. But okay,
sorry.
that's fine. It's fine. It's good. I will sleep well. You have face.
Yeah, Remi's watching her.
You've been having face all night.
So, how do the people generally do this?
You're never gonna say the damn word, are you? Okay.
How do they get married?
They don't so much. I mean, not... Okay, here's the thing. The people, for the most part, they're kind of bonded to everybody in their hunt band on a friends with benefits level, if they want to be. There's not the concept of jealousy. There's not the concept of possessiveness or any of the stuff that makes that kind of situation hard, because it's a rough life out there and they have to rely on each other. But sometimes, it's very rare, but it happens. sometimes two people want more. There's only that one person for them, and they want it to just be those two. And that's considered, I mean, it's good to a point, but it's considered a little strange. But what they tend to do is, I mean, there's a beginning with the couple's mothers having a bit of a conversation, because half the time it's difficult to tell exactly who a child's father is in hunt bands set up like that. So they have a discussion with both, amongst themselves and with the kids, to try to determine whether this is, a solid thing, and what this is going to do to their position among the hunt band. And that kind of negotiation takes a little while, and it does involve a sort of hunt band council sort of a situation, but it's all in good spirits. And I think it kind of equates at the end of the day to the exchange of vows. What happens is, among the people that matter most to them, small p people rather than capital P people, but the people that matter most to them, in front of those people, they just explain why it has to be just them. What it is about them that means that no one else would do. It's important for that to be known among a hunting band, so that no one's feeling rejected. There's a certain amount of dance where a mother will dance with their child, and then there's a sort of a point midway through the dance where they do a handoff of the married couple, just to indicate, that we were at one point the only one-on-one connection that our child had, and now that bond is being passed on and changed to something different. And there's a party, but I figured it kind of fit in with the various Palor ceremony vow thing. So it wasn't going to be something that got so much brought up. And after that, it's mostly we don't have rings, obviously. We don't do that creepy ass thing that they do out in Alzor High and Point surrounding, where they wear matched brands, or Anbier's whole shared family sigils thing. Although I kind of want to think of one now, because that just seems like a neat idea. But
We do have a few tattoos, don't we?
It's more of I think for Ambier's people, it's more of a personal representation of who you are as your family and as yourself, and they blend that sigil together and embroider it on bits of clothing. The people, they usually wind up taking something that they wear more or less all the time and give it to the other party to wear as this has traveled with me. This is mine, and now it is yours, and I go with it and thus with you, kind of a thing. I found out what Egref does, by the way, and what Egref does is really neat. And it's not all that weird.
That's surprising.
They have these, clocks. They have these things that are not quite wrist clocks exactly, but you put them on when you're declared bonded, married thing, and they start counting the minutes, the hours, the days, etc. that you've been together. And
Aww.
on your anniversary, it chimes to remind you.
That's cute.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was a little bit concerned about what Ambier might do, but it turns out that it's actually not unsubtle and kind of. And apparently, Cedar Grove and Goldendale share a tradition. They carve spoons, wooden spoons, for use around the hearth.
That does sound appropriate.
I have to ask Darvin what Star Coast does.
I was just thinking about these things now.
That's a good thing to think about. I tend to. I already. You probably noticed I already did the thinking about that kind of thing, because
Remi looks at her finger.
Yeah, and she has moved the ring by that point. Yeah, well, it's. I don't know. It's soon and all that, and it was probably kind of awkward, but it occurred to me that the thought of not seeing you smile first thing in the morning, not sitting next to me shoving the pepper in my general direction first thing, the thought of that not happening for the rest of my life actually caused me minor physical pain. And that's weird. And I don't like it. So I thought that maybe I should try to make sure that that's not a thing. And I know death happens and everything, and I'm not going there because that's kind of unavoidable. But obviously, I'm going to try not to, and I'm going to try to make sure that you don't. But shit happens. But I don't want it to be because we were just too shy or mired in tradition or just too stupid to say something.
I promise I'm okay with it being soon. It's not as if the answer would be any different between now and in however long. So
I know I figured that you're outspoken enough, and remember I read posture and facial expression as much as I do what you say. So I think if you'd been that off the idea, I'd have known. But yeah, I mean, I would personally prefer that we do what I guess qualifies as the people ceremony, and then we tell your mother and promise that she can be involved with the big party after we save Baron Zvir from the big black asshole. Because I don't want to wait too long for the big party, but I think it would probably wind up being in Goldendale because more of the people we know and qualify as family are there. And I don't want that big black asshole crashing. I don't intend to have him or Ava's asshole half-sister on the guest list, okay?
Oh, God. No, we're gonna have to deal with that first, aren't we?
I have a feeling that dealing with one is dealing with the other pretty much, because remember, we take out Big Black, we take out half-sister's power base. Of course, I also don't want that archfey asshole deciding the.
No, we don't.
No, I don't think we want an archfey chosen destination wedding.
No. I'm fine with the immediate ceremony being immediate-ish.
Yeah, under open sky would be nice.
Exactly. I mean, I know that Hazel probably can do a blessing at any moment, and she'd be thrilled to, but
I actually think she'd prefer wait until she deciphers her youthful handwriting and figures out. Did you not know that's what she was looking up? She did that was pretty clearly I'm going through my old notes from the temple to find, wedding things. So she's going to need a little while to get that tidied up and pick out the best one for us, and letting her have that time seems like a good thing. And besides, Darvin's going to want to try and think of an appropriate tune. God, I hope he doesn't have lyrics. And some of the others are going to wind up thinking of something to do with the whole thing. And besides, I would like, anyway, to have one day in Egref before blessing of that kind happens, because I'm pretty sure I could talk the governor into borrowing a segment of the Conundrum Pavilion for that kind of thing. And lots more fun places to eat for the reception anyway. And
be nice.
and B, there's something I want to get. No, I'm not saying any more than that. I think he's frozen. Damn. What a time to freeze. Shit. Does somebody want to, see what the hell is up with Noms? And try and poke him over roll 20, see what happens.
Yeah, already I brought it in. I think Marion did too.
I can't check because I'm recording, remember?
Yep, I just forwarding information.
Oh, it's good we have both bases covered anyway.
Yeah.
Now I need to come up with the... I'm pretty sure I have notes somewhere about Star Coast wedding customs.
Oh boy.
Okay.
There we go.
I got cut off right as you were talking about the pavilion and restaurants and
Yes,
stuff.
yes. I heard the I heard the that sounds nice about the restaurant bits, and yeah, her next bit was, and two, I want to go and get something, and no, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Remi immediately is like thinking, "Oh, jeez, I should." But again, like when it was in the shop.
You broke up real heavy there. No,
Oh,
you.
sorry, my computer's.
Yeah, but it means I only heard half of what you said.
Remi's kind of glancing off, thinking, "Oh, I should do something, shouldn't I?" Like that one time with Ava.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's more of a... I think it's something you'll appreciate, but it's not not necessarily an exchange of gift things, although we could do that too. I'm pretty sure that at least 3 different cultures there's a certain amount of gift thing. Although, actually, speaking of stuff, that kind of reminds me, there's something that given that this is more of a future thing and we're talking about that together now, I should probably run past you. You know, there's that house that used to be my parents', and my parents are now dead, and it's been pretty much cleaned up by now. And it's kind of not in the best area of town, but it's not that bad either. Well, I was thinking about what to do with it, and I'm thinking about the kids that pickpocketed some of you, or tried to in some cases, and
I remember that one.
I remember being one of them, or in that kind of vein, anyway. And I was thinking to myself, there gotta be something that can be done. So I was thinking, I've been sitting on my red dragon slaying money, etc. And now plus the extras, plus there's a certain amount of from Hazel, but or from party funds, more to the point. But anyway, what I was thinking of, and I need to speak to Barnabus in regards to the Howlers, because I don't think the Combine are a thing anymore.
Not exactly.
Fortinbras for other bits and pieces, and your parents. What I was thinking is, every time we've had that conversation about the edging around where we might end up after the world stays saved for 5 minutes at a stretch, every time we've brought that up, Bellaray seems to have been the assumed settling place, and I don't have a problem with that. It's pretty convenient for travel, more so if Hazel gets her way. I was thinking about getting keeping that place, but getting another one in a better section of town, and having both of them be places where kids who were like me can go. Between your parents' contacts and the Howlers' contacts and the Merc companies, we could get them errand jobs. I throw some money in that direction to make sure the kids stay fed. And they get training for a non-criminal related profession later on. And it means that we've got kids caretaking the place that we'll eventually settle down in when we're not being quite so hugely heroic.
So you're thinking of running, not exactly an orphanage, but
A halfway house.
halfway house, I guess. And it sounds nice.
It just involves, some people checking in on them now and then. And if anybody's going to be happy with arranging that kind of thing, it's going to be your mother.
That would be a good way to talk about children with her.
I mean, I don't delude myself that either of us are going to be very involved with the ins and outs of their daily lives, although I am going to have to talk to a few of them to make sure they know it's a trustworthy situation. Of course, then there's the other thing, because there's one other way we could deal with it, but it would involve telling the others. There's a lot of quick flights in Egref. If one of the cousins didn't mind moving as sort of a caretaker, quick flights are parentally inclined. I figure it'd be a good fit, but I also know that if I breathe a word of this to Hazel, she's going to make that squee noise?
Maybe save it for Hazel for when we're back in Belarus, or at least after she's finished the wedding blessing preparations.
I don't know. She might,
one thing at a time.
Given that it's her, given that taking care of kids is kind of her jam, might make her work extra hard on the blessing bit. And it gives her something nicer to think about than revenge. I think she worries about that sometimes.
That's true.
Besides, it gives the others an option to help if they want to. We're a thing now. We're what I would call a hunting band. That's the whole point of vows and stuff in front of the bunch. We have promised each other this. This is us. We are including you in that, but we are us. You see what I mean? It's hard to put into words. It's easier with hands.
And I think we took care of that part already.
Not quite, but I'm not doing that with an audience. I had enough of that.
That way.
I had enough of that at my old workplace. And at that point, it just kind of more or less dissolves into giggling. If Remi is more or less, if she has the information she's after. Anything else to add? Go on. I see you're thinking about something.
Yeah, Remi just flops back on the bed, looks to Alice, and I'm just glad you're okay.
It's you. It's us. I'm always gonna be okay. Whatever happens, however it goes, it's us. I'm good.
Agrif does sound nice.
And
The last wedding I went to from one of the Combine, the party at the Bravos Boast lasted much longer than the ceremony at the temple.
well, they do. The best ones do.
Yeah, that's true, but
I've never
the ceremony was not very long at all.
Yeah, and I've never actually seen a people pair bonding. The only reason I know is because, I was 13 and I turned up and everybody was a thing and it was weird. So I asked them, but as far as Alzor High goes, it's the traditional. We decorate the space beautiful enough to have Sune look in and sort of say, "Oh, you made this real nice. Blessings upon you," and go away again. But I've been to like 2 weddings in Alzor High, and the receptions were at the Tipsy Pixie, and my services were surprisingly in demand for some of those. And the second one was a couple of the Brass Arrows getting hitched, and that party lasted 3 days.
Oh boy.
So, I think a dinner and dancing like we had before we came down here is probably a better idea, given that we have to be in some kind of shape to save the world. And I think about 4 of those people ended up having to be in the little healer space at the back of the shared temple for like a week after that.
Oh,
there
boy.
is such a thing as too much party.
I can almost imagine that.
I've seen it happen, but I grant I was very well paid, so I can't really complain.
I can imagine that.
I have to admit, though, I am very glad that's over. It's it's well enough. It's fun, it's athletic, it's occasionally educational. But I didn't think that there'd be what there is now with it. Maybe it was how I grew up, or maybe I'm just that way, but love wasn't a thing I thought was gonna happen. I thought fondness, friendship, a good time, sure. You kind of did to that what that explosion thing that the weirdo down in the labs back in Egref did to that cavern wall. Boom! Okay, the entire landscape has changed. What do I do with this? Actually, I kind of like this. Okay, we'll go with that. I'm sure I didn't do that much different to you, though, so hey.
I think we both just needed a little while to figure out where we were supposed to be, and here we are.
Kind of wish that in figuring that out could have involved me dying a little less, but I guess it's not so much everything happens for a reason, but every story finds its place. It's not so much that it had to happen, but it happened and you make something good come of it later. Yeah, I think it may be flump time now.
Flops an arm over Alisaie.
Yeah, and cuddle pile, sleep for the night, and it's about break time, so hey, well timed.
Yes.
And I'll see you all in about 5 minutes. And we're back after many conversations, and morning happens, and Froseth has a duty to perform.
He is going to her room and first knock on the door.
Perception check from both of you.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I mean, Clarity is some part of her mind has been expecting this. So her usual form of wake up, she at least hears it. Hazel hears nothing, but she's still clinging to Clarity in the traditional cuddle pile.
I am like unto a limpet.
So yeah, Clarity has woken up to this, but she's also kind of pinned.
I did that to myself.
And I hate to have to say this, but it's going to be a contested athletics check to
Yeah.
Can't be acrobatics.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
It's not gonna be good. Yeah.
Hazel? No, Hazel's could be worse. Contested athletics. I mean, it probably won't be, but it could. I think that's actually Hazel's modifier for athletics.
Yeah, the 2 is the modifier.
Oh god, that's a nat 20. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes.
Right.
What you...
Yes. Keep in mind, painkiller's high. So yeah, no. Clarity is distinctly pinned.
Oh.
I'm stuck.
I'm just gonna say Furseth did manage to hear that because he is listening for signs of life, and so he hears. Right, I did that to myself. Wriggle, wriggle. I'm stuck.
He'll try just opening the door normally then, just
Yeah,
if it's not locked or anything.
Now we rolled a hand of fate. No, the door's locked. That was a nat one. Do you guys want to try the contested athletics check again?
Still out.
There we go.
20 from
Great.
Linda, and now from Hazel.
Basically, this is Clarity hearing the door being tried. Oh shit! I locked the door. I'm gonna have to do something now, and just tickles Hazel just enough to get her moving without waking her up. So
Just roll and sort of flop about in the bed.
I made it. I'll be out in a second.
Okay.
and we will assume clothing. We'll assume clothing. That's the thing. Now, where is Furseth going to train? You're going to have an audience for training downstairs because it's about the only place you actually can do so because the scientists are still there.
Jesus Christ!
And while they are still arguing, a couple of them have left off their argument to watch the rather interesting spectacle of a dragonborn monk testing forms with a tiefling rogue-ish. Sorry, it's rogue-ish now. I don't really have anything else at this point. So, yeah, I'm not going to do, like, modifiers and things along those lines. Clarity is quite dexterous, not quite as much so as Furseth, but because Furseth his mind and body is like an arrow trained towards one specific thing, whereas Clarity kind of has the blunderbuss approach to collecting things, what she can do. So there is a certain amount of what she can dodge, she dodges well. What she can't dodge is kind of whack. Ow! And it's not too much longer after that most of the rest of you are kind of up and downstairs. Alisaie maybe sleeping in a little bit. Just on the basis that it's been a rough couple of days. All told. So you guys, depending on, I'm assuming Remi is going to stay in bed as long as A, permitted, and B, Alisaie is still out. So it's basically Ava, Darvin, Barnabus, and Hazel who wakes up to an empty bed, like, pat, pat, pat.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. It's weird.
Give me a dex save. Give me a dex save.
Yep.
You managed not to fall off the bed. Just.
Oh, wait, where? Okay, I at least have to get out.
And Hazel is at that point, aside from Remi and Alisaie, the last to come downstairs. And you guys come down as Furseth and Clarity are finishing up, and Clarity is occasionally, ow.
You okay?
Yeah. I apparently don't like myself very much, and asked Furseth to help me train. He's a stern and very focused teacher.
Of course, you do remember the first time he sparred with any one of you.
Compared to that, he's probably going easy on
Yeah,
Woo!
that 20 to the skull.
1, 2, 3.
Pain is an excellent motivator.
For
I mean, I
those,
suppose you want him to be, stern and
Oh,
focused.
really? Yes, it's good. It's just painful good.
Oh, well,
Darvin is going, at least you're still conscious.
You're awake.
But yeah, I remember when I started archery training, my arms were days.
It's not quite Nora getting boffed in the head.
His
The look
patching
on
up is going to
Francis'
be-
face.
Yeah, this patching up is going to be different and apparently more involved, given you've been bopped in how many places at this point?
You probably lost count by this time, given flurry of blows.
The difference is this is training. That was sparring.
True, but
Yeah.
you hit somebody with a stick of wood, bruises happen.
You're going to be searching for those for a bit, and I'm gonna pull the medical pack.
Yeah, I mean, no hit points have
Clarity
been.
the hell down.
Yeah, no hit points have been lost. It's just salve for bruises, and this time somebody else is going to decide it's a good idea to go and get breakfast. Somebody else gets to deal with the bartender for once.
Right. Anyway.
Yes, you have a deep gnome lady at the breakfast service looking up at him. Hello?
Hello. Let's see. 1, 2, 8, 9. Yeah. We need 8 servings of breakfast. I'm not sure what you guys have available.
Oh, good, you have actually stopped talking. This is apparently rare for you. Congratulations. Something about your facial expression suggests that you should be congratulated for knowing when to shut your mouth. So I shall do that thing, because that seems nice. I will call you when your breakfasts are ready. But I only see 6 of you.
2 of us appear to be sleeping in, so I just wanted to go ahead and get theirs ready for when they came down.
It will be cold if they do not come down in the next 2 minutes.
Well, how long is breakfast available?
A while, but...
Okay.
Looks at the rest of you. Looks over at Ava. Points. Gesture. Come here, you.
Okay. One over a little bit confused.
You are the adventuring types, yes?
Yeah, that'd be right.
And 2 of your number are apparently sleeping in, but the rest of your party is ready.
Yes.
Is there anything stopping you from waking your party up? We have to clean the rooms, after all. And this one did not seem to think of that, so I thought I would find one of you who looked like they had more sense and ask them.
Well, they've kind of had it a bit rough lately, so we were hoping they could rest a little longer if that was possible. I mean, how long? When would they have to leave the room at the latest?
Well, it's more of an as soon as possible thing, you see.
Ah,
Right. Okay.
No, I am talking to her now, thank you.
Sorry.
I will not entirely take back my congratulations, but I will take some of them back. Please go sit down. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Sits back down.
Would it be helpful if we made a particularly strong coffee?
Maybe.
Good. Then you can go and collect your friends, because I am not going to make 6 and then set 2 to warm, because it will dry out.
Fair enough. Thank you. I'm just gonna go up and
Perception check for Remi and Alisaie.
She's braver than I am. Shoot. I wasn't going to wake him up. Shoot.
someone got to. And it'll probably come easier from me.
Yeah, I mean they're surprisingly. I mean, okay, maybe they don't want to be up, but they're at around about the point where it's like, we can't really ignore this, can we? I know. Are we being evicted?
A little bit.
Okay.
That's strong coffee.
We'll be down in a minute.
I'm sorry.
2 minutes.
Not your fault.
Alright. Nuzzles. No,
Yeah.
say.
Come on. Not gonna get any easier.
I know I said this a lot last night, but I love you.
Love you too.
Their waking up is way too relatable.
And gets up, chucks on clothes. Actually, does a little bit of digging around. I'm gonna have to find. Actually, no, I'm not gonna have to find something of mine that you actually get to wear, because you already have it. Tailored to you and everything. Yes.
That is true. I don't really think very sentimentally about my clothes.
You'll think of something. It doesn't have to be right this second. I just was digging through my stuff and going, I don't have that much stuff. And then I remembered that I, technically speaking, proposed to you like 2 weeks ago. So, okay. But then again, you kind of did the same by bringing me back from the dead a couple of months ago, so...
Or even.
Pretty much, yeah. Although I don't think that those are entirely comparable things. No matter how awesome you look in that shirt.
It is
and
a nice shirt.
out she goes. And these two thump back downstairs. It's just, the deep gnome woman is just, oh good, we can send someone to clean the rooms now, and I can start putting together breakfasts. And puts a large, I mean, it's not quite her sized, but it's kind of big pot of coffee. For you.
Thank you.
I cannot carry it to your table. I am a little bit too small for that.
I'll get it.
Ava, make me a strength check.
Oh.
When coffee needs carrying, call the cleric.
Or Barnabus.
Or the giant minotaur who helps to run on the stomach.
I had an alliteration moment. Let me have this.
Barnabas will get it.
Well, no, because she's already declared it. She's struggling, and yeah, she's very much. And, why do I see Barnabas just using his echo to kind of point that?
Exactly what I was about to say.
I know you too well, that's why. So all of a sudden, shadowy Barnabas, and then poof, Barnabas, and the coffee is relieved from you.
Much obliged.
You
Thank
can
you.
you can get the mugs.
Okay, months.
Yeah, there's a tray of those.
I'm still finding bruises and
You don't
prodding.
have to fuss so much. It's fine. He
Uh,
didn't really beat me up so much as just dinged me some.
yeah, but
Wait,
it's
who got
Hazel.
beaten up?
I know, I'm telling her.
Yeah. Well, no, this is Alisaie going. It's Hazel. Of course she does.
Who
No,
got
but-
beaten up this early? What did we miss?
Training with process, apparently.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Uh,
that makes sense.
She would
Training rather than sparring, apparently.
she wouldn't be quite so weirdly cheerful about it, and Hazel would be less sort of matter of fact and more raging if it had been an actual beat up.
That is very true.
Yep.
And going
Situational
to
awareness
switch
for the
clarity
win. So you painted salve on all those bruises only to poke them with squishing. Okay. I don't know. That's
Fix that.
some people's jam. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's just this head tilt.
Yeah, no, Kitty.
Nope, not gonna try and figure that out any further.
Yeah, okay.
Have some
I
coffee.
know how my
you
face gets when I try to think about that. Nope.
Chill.
two. Have some water, Hazel.
I haven't had any coffee yet.
That's what worries me.
I think that's probably not one for you. That one's very.
I don't see that we have any other options than this
Yeah, I was about to say.
particular
It's kind of this or nothing.
Hmm.
And you get a certain amount of, hello, excuse me, breakfast's already.
All glory to food.
I'll get
no.
some.
I'll grab some as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Alisaie manages like 4 of them in sort of waiter style, so yeah, okay.
Yep. Clarity, you get a couple, I'll get a couple.
And sets, because Alisaie's gone for the larger ones because it was mostly, Clarity, not the last of the great strong ones. So 1 plate in front of Remi, 1 plate in front of Barnabus, 1 plate in front of Broseth, and then her own punk. Ta-da!
I'll set 1 in front of Ava.
Thank you.
Food for us.
Yeah. Well,
Yay.
basically everybody gets fed. So, and what you've got is rather I mean, it's a mushroom omelet, but there's a taste to the eggs that you're not really used to. It's not bad. It's a little zingy, and spices don't seem to account for it.
Nothing like I've ever tried.
Mm-mm. Actually, is it?
Huh.
Not in a bad way. Just.
I need to ask about this. I need
I
to.
don't.
Hang on. No, wait. Ava, you'll want to know this. This is something in the dragon family. Drake, wyvern, something like that.
Interesting.
But one of the lesser ones. I don't think we've got actual dragon egg here. Do kind of wonder what a dragon egg omelet would taste like, though. Well, I'm never gonna find out, so.
That is true.
Probably shouldn't have smashed all the ice drake eggs. They would have made good omelets.
Would have made big omelets.
We
There are a
were
lot of us.
there are a lot of us, and we were also feeding the cafes. So
Mm.
And the kids.
no kid, Molly.
Well, right, that point. Sorry. I got events mixed.
Time
Have
frame.
some coffee,
Have some
Darvin.
coffee myself, yeah. Thanks.
So we're looking at kind of southwest-ish from here. I think we still got a couple of days more in the mining cart express, and then it's a bit of a walk to the salt gate, and that's when I'll start clairvoyant checking.
Perfect.
Hazel, make me a wisdom. Actually, no. That unfortunately, this is an intelligence check thing.
Intelligence check on my part.
Yeah, and let me think. It's Darvin, Ava, Froseth, and Remi who've seen her do the same, but don't need to. She's just about got it. You know, this probably is around about the point where her divination, when should Alisaie start looking for the dragon's lair would be a really good use of that spell.
That actually gives me an idea. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna clear my section of table as much as I can.
Or you could just grab another table. Not all of them are used.
All right, yeah.
And
I'll
you
do that or
probably
find the-
whatever you're going to do, you probably want to do it out of sight of the thumbs in the general direction of the scientists who are not entirely watching you.
It's gonna be just being underground makes this not exactly something I'm well oriented for. Where?
Okay, outside, and there's still alleys. There's one out towards the back of this place. It's not very wide, but if you arrange yourself properly, you can probably shield most of the light.
Right. Excuse me. And I'm going to head out and look for one of said places.
Yeah, I mean there's an alley just off to the left of the door, which there's a couple of barrels that are if she sort of kneels and sets up there, any ambient light will at least be muted, particularly if she arranges the barrels to kind of close off the alley, which given her strength score and the fact they're not full, she can do not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And what is she going to sacrifice for this? Because it's incense plus
plus a sacrificial offering. I was actually considering given Paylor is at least somewhat in tune with farming, considering just stopping by the breakfast bar.
It's not a breakfast bar, but she can grab something off
the
plates.
Bar thing. Yeah, the bar person individual
Oh,
and
okay.
asking for something.
Yes, okay. So you sort of go to the door, you notice the alley, you stop, you think, and then you go back to the bar.
Mm-hmm. Yep, back to bar.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hi. I need something as an appropriate sacrificial offering, food of some sort for a ceremony. Is there anything you would have to either be able to spare or I could pay for?
Is is a wild food or a farmed food?
Farmed.
If you could wait there for just one moment, thank you very much. Pats off into the back, and you hear little feet down the stairs. Bushel of mushrooms. They are in the strangest damn shapes. These are not your mama's mushrooms.
One
Or
of them
your
may or may not
mom's.
be glowing.
No, none of them are glowing. These are largely eating mushrooms. They're just really weirdly shaped. I mean, if you've ever been in a really upmarket supermarket and you've seen some of the really specialty mushrooms, there's a couple of truffle looking things in there. But actually picks those out. Go, no, those are wild. Those are wild. Those are wild. Okay, yes, no.
I'm going to offer the appropriate 25 gold. At the very least, or how, if you need any more.
And then shoves the 3 truffle things back in. You will like those, very interesting. You want to dip them in, and rummages under the bar and comes out with this sort of white, creamy sauce thing. You slice them and you dip them in the sauce.
Understood. Oh wow. I'm still offering the
she's taken that, and that's why
got it.
and that's why she's given you the truffles as well. So
Thank
apparently
you so much.
apparently those are delicacy. Yes, these are some of our finer mushrooms. Please tell your sunshiny god to not be too bright at us, please. Thank you.
I'm just extremely enthusiastic, grateful bow, and off with the mushrooms I go.
And all of a sudden, you see Hazel collect this massive bushel of mushroom.
All right, fine.
Sort
Gonna
of
find a place to set up.
Confused, looking at everybody else, realizing nobody else is saying anything or doing anything, and just going, okay.
Going to set the farmed ones, separate the farmed ones from the wild ones that she gave me again, and arrange the bushel appropriately. Do the ritual circle and start casting appropriately. Divination. Asking, when should Alisaie start searching for the lair?
Make me a wisdom check, just to see where we go from this.
All right. 11.
The mushrooms turn into 2 piles of salt. You wind up looking at this in confusion, in very meditative confusion, but confusion nonetheless, for a good 3 minutes before you figure out that's probably 2 days past the salt gate.
Her name's Paylor. We walk in the sun, and the sun heals the worthy. Walk in the sun, and the sun guides us all.
And a strange sort of breeze and sort of poofs the sand, poofs the salt. Some of it onto your fancy-ass wild mushrooms.
And I'm just going to collect everything back up as best I can and head back in.
And yeah, probably given setup and things, a good 5 minutes later, Hazel returns, sans most of the mushrooms.
Were you just binging mushrooms in the alleyway?
No, I was asking Paylor for a favor. Specifically a pointer as to when we should start looking for the lair.
Yeah, Pelor isn't just the sun god, also sort of uh, teams up with Bayeri on farming.
Yeah, because, well, sunlight fuels all the stuff you grow. With a few interesting exceptions.
Yeah, well, I guess it was the thought that counts in terms of mushrooms, so hey.
I mean, yeah, because it's fueled by the sun, but by absorbing what it's this whole, like, the mushrooms grow on stuff that's already squidged. Anyway, best I could understand my answer, 2 days past the salt gate.
Cool, good to know that I won't be just randomly casting for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that can get kind of dull.
We'll definitely just once again doing the just starting to mumble. Walk in the sun guides us all. Praise Paylor. Just a few mumbled prayers.
Don't worry, we will be back under his sun soon enough. Yeah, so while we're having a quiet, pre-travel moment, wanted to bring up something I was kind of plotting because Hazel, I think you might be in a position, or some of your family is anyway, to help with some of that.
Oh?
Well, you know that I've been carting around an awful lot of money to kind of set up something like a home. And I was thinking about how to do it, and what I thought was that you got pickpocketed by kids a lot like I used to be. And I guess Hearth Home got me thinking that, any home that I have, I'm probably not going to be in all the time. I thought maybe that place, along with the Radios place that I guess is mine because the only other people who owned it were my parents and they're kind of dead, good riddance. We could fix that up and have it be like a halfway house for the street kids. Get Bree's parents to get their connections in market and the shops to, get them apprenticeships, or Barnabus, the Howlers, and some others can maybe use them as runners when they're in town. But we thought that, particularly for the house that's not in the grotty end, that might end up being home when we're there. They could use a caretaker, and I thought there are a lot of quick flights in Egref. Maybe you've got a cousin that wouldn't mind a change of scenery and has Twillyish tendencies. I don't know.
I can at the very least ask.
Cool. Because I mean, I don't delude myself that I could be a Twilly or Miranda that way. I'm not really my thing, but it would make sure that there was kids with a home and maintaining one for when I'm not, hopefully less. And basically, I don't think either of us, glancing over at Remi, are ever gonna not be traveling the world doing good. It's kind of who we are at this point. But, with you guys or on our own or whatever, uh, we probably aren't going to live in a home all the time. Not until we're
Wrinkly.
something like that. That's I mean, I was just gonna say fed up with it because I can see you still. Jenna is not exactly without her wrinkles, and she'd still wade right back into it.
It is why I still do things like this. I'm going to point into being a dimmed down spiritual weapon in the form of Jenna's fist.
So yeah, I mean, if anybody can think of, any way we could also do that better, by all means. But this is what I got. It's, a couple of people to ask about making sure that these kids have something other than crime. Won't end the entire problem, but
it'll definitely help, and it's a good start.
and yeah, I mean we're gonna have at least a little bit of time in Egref if all is going well, because Ree and I were talking about a prep day and then maybe borrowing a corner of the Conundrum Pavilion for certain marriage-related ceremonies, followed by a nice dinner somewhere and a bit of a dance as a party reception thing.
I like this idea.
I think we can get on board with that.
Once I can pull apart my awkward 8-year-old chicken scratch, I'll
I think that even if it's not exactly what the temple taught you, hell, especially if it's not what the temple taught you, it'll still be very us.
Yeah.
As long as you leave a space for, I mean, you're gonna leave a space for the vows. I think everybody knows that one. That one That one dovetails really nicely with the traditions of the people. It's a thing. We don't normally go for that kind of thing, but when we do, we announce to our hunting band, our people with a small p, why this one above all others. And I figure the vows fit in well with that.
Yeah, it does. I've got a few of the things I've deciphered so far that are pretty extensive, and I can probably do a few things Lyra said to do, which is trim it down, improvise, that sort of thing.
Whatever you do is gonna be fine. It's us. It's good.
And aside from Hazel, you're gonna do it like you do everything, from the heart.
Exactly.
And if anybody's curious, I found out what the people of Cabrea Val do for pair bonding stuff. It's not what you'd think. You know clocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They have these little wrist clocks, except they don't tell time exactly. What they do is you put them on when you've been declared bonded. And it starts counting up the seconds, minutes, hours, days that you've been together.
Aw,
And every year on your anniversary, it chimes.
that's adorable.
That's beautiful.
That would have saved my father a lot of grief.
Wow.
Barnabus, I adore you.
I'm here all night.
Yeah, been
Well, probably not. I think we got to get going. But anyway,
eh.
Eh,
Well, it's good. Everybody gets involved in the chuckles and various bits of commentary about, pair bonding thing. This is for me. I've never actually seen any of the people pair bond, but from what I've heard, this is how it's supposed to be with your hunting band. It's equal parts. That's adorable and good-natured laughter at their expense.
or at the expense of Barnabas's old man, apparently.
He was a
Because-
good man, very absent-minded about dates. Very.
That's fair.
Well,
I
we're all
ended up-
mortal and we're all ridiculous in our own ways.
When I was old enough, I started reminding him for him because it was. Yeah, getting it wrong year after year. I honestly think Mom was playing it up quite a bit, but still, she had a temper.
War skillet.
No, but she could strip the paint off a building at 50 paces if you really laid into you, all without cursing once.
Wow.
Now I see where you get it from.
You right?
I'm kind of curious now, though. I remember you saying you were human parents.
Yes, I was adopted. They literally found me on the doorstep, apparently.
Wow, no wonder the Hearthhearts took to you so well. Isn't that how they got like half their kids?
Yep.
Uh,
In various flavors of left on the doorstep, self included.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just curious if you were ever interested in trying to find out who your parents were.
I tried looking into it back in the day, once or twice. Never really got anywhere. I'm not the same as other minotaurs around. I mean, they're intelligent. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I kind of figured it's just not something I'd ever find out.
No, I guess I'm just thinking because Froseth was in a similar situation, and he didn't find out about his parents directly.
Mm.
But I think that may have been more happenstance than anything else. Froseth, you want to weigh in here?
I don't know. I think the main difference here between my situation is his. He still had the parental figures.
No, I just meant because, you know, you obviously knew that your parents were no longer, but even if his aren't, I'm just wondering how far Nerul's influence stretches. I wasn't asking for how you felt about it. I was saying maybe weigh in on how you found out about Faraday.
Well, that was big chance of circumstance of what we do, right? Like we went to the temple of Nerul. It's
God of Death, by the way.
yeah, the chamber there to speak to old ones, and a name. I don't know if it was just whispered on the air or some memory
Out
in
of
my head.
out of character, if I recall, you actually meditated on that.
Yeah. Oh, right. Just yeah. So it's like with what we're doing, there's a good chance that something may come up where you could find out. We could make a trip back there if you've got any information.
Well, also, Hazel can ask Paler an awful lot of questions now.
Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I've even thought about it a few time or two. But then again,
Yeah.
after the Temple of Nerul, I pretty much got what I needed anyway. So, but
Well, that's the thing. You already knew your parents. It's
well, no, I just meant. Sorry, my situation, my question would have been a little different, but it just all of this kind of reminded me of it. Sorry.
yeah. Right now, this is for Barnabas. You're making it all about you again.
So,
It's not a pushing. It's just a. We might pass through that area again. We actually kind of have to because we need to pick up Constance,
yeah. Yeah, we
Baron
do.
Langerhan's daughter, who's going to be the Baroness of Goldendale when we stick Baron Langerhan on the rightful, in his rightful place on the throne. I guess I'm just
Who we
saying, Barnabas, that there are options. They might not get you home. That's going to take a bigger
Hmm.
act of a bigger god than we have at the moment. But if you were curious about family members who may be lost, there are
Well,
options.
well, I would definitely want to look into that. Not, I don't want to sidetrack anybody, but I would definitely want to look into that.
Don't believe me. I was not thinking of sidetracking us, but because that's someplace we have to go again anyway, I'm
Mm.
bringing it up now as a chance for you to think about it. I don't know if we have to go through the tests again.
I
Hmm.
really hope not.
Well,
You can think on it, and I can
let's be
ask
fair.
any.
The wall wouldn't be a problem for you anymore. It's already tested you in that way. I think the only
Yes.
one it'd go for would be Barnabas.
Mm,
Actually, yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Plus,
a good
this
point.
also gives you time to come up with any questions you might want to pass towards Paylor through me, which might
Mm.
relate to this.
I appreciate the heads up on that instead of just dropping it at my feet when we got there. I'll definitely give it some thought, some serious thought.
To be honest, it's not a bad place to go anyway.
Mm.
For all it's difficult to get there, one of the things we might have to do, not just when Giant Rand the Third is defeated, but when we finally make sure Tiamat's stamped back down where she belongs. The only reason that place was buried was because it was covered up by since buried Tiamat worship. Maybe it's time to open that up again.
Hmm.
That's going to be interesting because between the previous debacles we ran into going in there, and just in any sort of situation relating to just Tiamat anything.
Yeah. All I mean is that, there's gonna be a sea change, and some of those places are too valuable even from just an intellectual perspective to lose. And some of you didn't see it, Clarity. They had, and the thing that Froseth was talking about, it was called the Stone of Farewell. Um, a little bit of blood on the stone and call the name of a deceased blood relative. And you could speak to them for 5 minutes. We
Really?
don't know how that happened, but and then there's you didn't meet Bethrina. She was something called one of the Deathless. In that temple, people went, and if it was something that a quest that they wanted to undertake that was so all-consuming, so dangerous, so long-lasting that it couldn't be done in one lifetime, a supplicant would go, and you could only have 6 at a time, but Nerul would kind of tuck your death away. Even if you physically died, you'd apparently come basically right back until your quest was completed, at which point you would go bodily to serve Nerul directly, mostly as a guide, as far as I understood it from the from what we saw written. Nye's cousin did that to find him, and eventually she did.
Yeah. That stone of farewell, you need to know the blood relative's name?
Yeah. But there's, like we were telling Barnabus, there's ways to ask. You know Hazel to ask if you asked her.
Yeah.
Immediately and without question.
So it's definitely a trip we need to make. While we can say that the world is real important, I get that. But we can't save the world if we have that kind of unfinished business. Not and be wholehearted about it. If we're going to go into this, we go into it together and with all of us, individually as well as a group. So don't feel bad about asking for something just because it might seem out of our way. These guys went a little bit out of their way one day out in the desert, and look what happened.
To put not too fine a point on it, Barnabas, your family. And this is what we do for family. So there. Yeah.
Welcome to our way of being ridiculous.
To
And
quote
anyone who enjoys seeing it sees a gigantic minotaur being all bashful.
to quote myself just a few minutes ago, from the heart. Ridiculous from the heart.
By the way, this also applies to any one of the rest of you. If any of you ever think of something that you believe could only be answered by divine and within reason, I will definitely be able to at least try to ask.
It's appreciated.
Thank you, Hazel,
although,
but
in all fairness, I've got a kind of different and slightly more direct line on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah, and honestly, at this point, the only person that I don't really know how they ended up, I could probably write in some fashion eventually. So I'm not too worried about it. But thank you, Hazel. If I'll keep it in mind, if anything.
We'll keep it in mind.
Yeah. Just...
While that bit of conversation is going on, in the middle of that, for Barnabas, everything around him freezes. And he's probably, I think he did actually hear this one a time or two. The voice of His Majesty.
Oh, fuck.
I have an offer for you.
Y'all can stick it straight up.
I was going to offer a way to leave you and your others alone.
Sure you were.
Oh no, I actually was. Make me an insight check.
Where is the inside?
No, he's actually telling the truth.
I'm listening.
The reason I come to you with it is because you're about the only person who could offer anything of particular interest.
Mm-hmm.
Your way home. You
What
stay.
about it?
You stay here. I leave you be.
Mm.
And he's still being 100% fucking honest.
Why do you want that?
You're very much one of a kind. Having you on a world where no other Minotaur is capable of speech or coherent thought. Watching to see what life you'd make for yourself. Watching to see if you'd ever snap. It's a challenge for you, and it's a subject of intense fascination for me. And it would mean far fewer distractions from the things that actually matter. Because, of course, if that diversion is denied me, weddings are so dull.
You are a lead-plated son of a bitch.
Why, thank you.
That's not a compliment.
That depends on where you're standing. Do we have an accord?
We do.
Something in Barnabus wrenches. It's to do with that echo thing. The feeling is that, I mean, he's a smart man, and he did some testing when he realized he could do the echo thing. If he'd been able to go home, he would have lost that ability just through passing back through the planes.
Mm-hmm.
That's locked into him now. And with it locked that way, he can't go back. So you guys, make me a perception check, y'all.
$21.
2. Wow.
13.
Well, I mean, Darvin was actually talking to him. Remi mostly notices because Alisaie clearly notices. The rest of y'all are too busy finishing up your breakfasts to notice when Barnabus... I mean, this happens, as far as we're all concerned, in the space of about a second. When Barnabus just... his hair kind of kind of fluffs out like it's all standing on an end, and he winces. Dude, you okay?
Uh,
Yeah, I'll be fine.
uh,
You sure?
no.
Little indigestion.
Make me a deception check.
I'm insulting that hard.
Oh,
Yeah, given this is getting attention, I'm inciting as well.
Ah,
No.
Deception.
that's perfect. That is the best possible roll.
To be fair, I mean, Ava is having a hard time reading Minotaur facial expressions. Hazel and Froseth is Clarity rolling for you?
Claire rolled a nat 1 on the perception check.
So she's probably kind of because she woke up far too early.
Lost in her thoughts.
She's fallen asleep. So okay, so it's Ava believes him. Froseth and Hazel don't believe him, but they can't figure out exactly what. Remi, who knows Barnabus very well, Darwin, who knows his narrative lines, Alisaie, same thing, know exactly what he did.
Oh,
What?
Remi's
What's
not
going on?
happy.
you. Oh God.
Oh.
What?
It's yours to tell, dude, but they know something's up. I'm not gonna not react when...
Yeah. Oh.
I'll make this brief.
And she actually nudges Clarity to...
Well, yeah. so
You're
that's-
gonna
wait,
want to.
no.
You're gonna want to listen to this.
I'm listening.
Darwin
Now.
just quietly puts his hand over his mouth.
Sorry.
His assholeness. made
Oh
him-
no. What did he do?
It's not what he
in
did.
exchange for leaving you alone from here on out, especially looking at Remi and Alisaie during your wedding, he wanted my ability to go home.
Remi's grabbing her mug.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Aren't there people you miss?
Yes, but there'll be more people who miss the rest of you because this is the
Yeah.
greatest good. I'll live. If you excuse me, and he just walks out the door to be alone for a minute.
If you're listening, fuck you.
If he's listening, I don't care. This
Nor do I.
buys us time.
This buys us time, but I will not let it stand.
No, we'll find a way. Let me-
I didn't think that needed saying, Darwin. Given who it was he first threatened.
I can't believe it.
Here's a thing that I don't know if he asked.
Of course he didn't.
Wanted his... No. But Barnabus didn't ask, and I'm not bringing it up with him. He's hurting enough. His ability to go home. His way home. If he took that, where does it go?
Oh, yeah.
That's-
Question.
And he might have all kinds of reasons to like Barnabas being here, and I can think of a few if you're a complete dick. But more than that, that's a world no one here has ever seen except for Barnabas. It's a world without gods.
And
Probably without Archfey. If he goes there,
And
what kind of havoc could he wreak?
Oh God.
out of character, wreak. You wreak havoc.
Yeah, Reek, thank you.
It's called.
That sounds exactly like something you'd do.
And that, I mean, there's also that whole Izzet League he keeps talking about, the cult of Rakdos.
Which is also here somehow. I have a, if it's involving the Nine Hells at all, I have a guess as to how. But that's just but that's just because the Hells are everywhere.
Either way, it buys us time to make sure we still have a world to plant our feet in for them to do their readings and shit like that. But then we take it back
Oh, we are.
and hope he doesn't do
Agree.
too much damage in the meantime, because we can't. He's right about one thing. We can't.
yeah.
But fuck, how do you thank someone for a wedding present like that?
I wish I knew.
Good gods.
Oh, I
mean,
needed to lighten the mood somehow.
At the same time, it's like
If we needed it,
it's just,
as
just-
if we needed any more.
it's just that aside. That's just so eminently Barnabas. That is just him to a T. You know, there's one of those rare moments in life where somebody just like does something that is so them.
It is very
That
noble
was
that way.
Yeah.
We give him a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and when he comes back, we try not to make a big deal of it, because I don't think he wants us to do that. And we try not to mention what bullshit might come of this. He's smart. Maybe he'll figure it out on his own. If he does, we'll help him through it.
Mm.
We do what he bought us time to do. And then we take it fucking back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
One
mean-
more reason to find a way to put an axe in that guy's head.
We'd already
Oh
intended on.
no, I don't
dealing
want
with
to.
him.
No, I don't want to kill him. Now more than ever, I don't want to kill him.
You said things
Contain him,
before.
yeah.
Yeah, like stick him in a.
No, we weaken him.
Hmm.
Archfey are just a short step up from the gods. Let's just make him a fucking elf.
That would be brilliant.
His ass down to elf. That's great.
That's fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's very
you-
fitting.
oh, damn.
If you could make him mortal, oh, that would be the ultimate.
That's exactly her intention.
Hmm. Well,
Oh,
Yeah. I'm like, and what? Ooh.
That's also one hell of a way to serve divorce papers.
Let's just.
And to
we could
be
even make him
fair,
beholden to the ex-wife.
Clarity is having this sense of from her own patron. Ooh.
I'm like,
Holy shit!
if he's mortal and he's I'm like,
Even-
he could wind up beholden to his own ex-wife.
Either way, we're.
No.
Whoop, sorry, go ahead.
I was just about to say, but I'm pretty sure even for immortals, the friggin' vows still say, "Till death do us part." Guess what she can do now?
Either way, we are at about that time, and when we're a little past actually, but when we come back in 2 weeks' time, we'll have Barnabas make a very important intelligence check and possibly have him overhear some of the lovely ideas that Alisaie has about dealing with his astrosty. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Just yeah,
Remind me to get in a hug first when